Alright, so the last problem from the 7-3 notes is just another table example. So the last two were cases where I could draw a 2-set Venn diagram, and those are as big as you'd ever want to use. There will be no 3-set Venns in Chapter 7. What we do instead of 3-set Venns is we have a table. Right? We're giving you a table that's organized the information, and then based on said table, you'll find probabilities. Again, always being careful never to add anybody more than once. Alright, so we've got our table here. This is the table where I've got my categories of absentees, how many days they missed in a group, and then whether they achieved an A, B, C, D, or F, and then my total. So my totals are 150. Alright, find the percent. So I've got to keep in mind I'm looking for percents. So I've got to convert my probability to a percent for my final answer, and make sure you're careful on a quiz. If it asks for a percent, make sure to give it as a percent. If it asks for a probability, it usually tell you how far to round. And so you always want the decimal for the probability. Alright, so first I'm going to find the probability that we have a student with an A or B selected. So A or B. And having an A or B are mutually exclusive, right? Either you're an A student in that group or a B student. And so I don't have to worry about any overlap. So it's they're mutually exclusive events case. So it's just the probability you're an A plus the probability you're a B student. So probability you're an A student. Well, there are 16 A students out of 150. Add to that the probability you're B. Well, there are 38 B students out of 150. And there's the two individual probabilities. Add them up. So out of 158 students, 54 of them, if I add 38 and 16, are A or B, and so the decimal would be 0.36, but remember that's not the answer I wanted as a percent, so the answer you would give if this were a test question, there is a 36% chance that you would select the student with an A or a B. So make sure you're careful. Next one's also asking you for a percent. Find the percent of students with 3 or fewer absentees. Alright, so probability they have 0 to 3 absences. Alright, so out of 150 students, we're just looking here at 0 to 3, so 42 of them. Alright, so the decimal to that would be 0.28, which again, we want a percent, so the answer you would give would be 28. Alright, it's 28% chance you select a student who only missed 0 to 3 days of class. Alright, percent again, find the percent of students with a C or better, so that would be A, B, or C. And they had 3 or fewer missed days. So I want the probability first, and then we'll go to percent. But they have an A, B, or C, and they have 3 to 0 absentees. Alright, so I'm looking for the overlap between 0 to 3 missed days and A, B's, and C's. Alright, so I'm going to go up here. So I'm looking here, I want my A, my B, and my C in the group with the overlap with the group with 0 to 3. So I have 12, 15, and 11, so I have to add those up, 12, 15, and 11. So we've got 38. So 38 out of 150 have an A, B, or C, and they only missed 0 to 3 days. Alright, so 38, and again, find the decimal approximation for that. So 0.25333, and so I'm just going to go 4 decimal places. So the percent would be 25.33%. And again, on a quiz, it'll tell you to round 1, 2 decimal round to the whole number. Just make sure you round appropriately, and make sure you give it as a percent if that's what it's asking for. Find the percent of students with a C or better, so with an A, B, or C, or the student had 3 or fewer. So this one's different. The last one had the and, this one had the or. So we come at the ors differently. So first find the probability that they have an A, B, C, or they miss 3 to 0 days. The or is the one, again, you have to be careful of. So first find how many had an A, B, or C, probability they had an A, B, or C. Add to it the probability they missed 0 to 3 days, minus any overlap, the chance they had both of those, right, which actually was in the last problem. Alright, so first though, I need how many A, B's, and C's. So all of my A, B's, and C's. So 16, 38, and 46 are all of my A, B's, and C's. So I add all of those up. That's 100. So 100 students had an A, B, or C out of 150. 0 to 3, well, that was 42 out of 150. And then we counted 38 of those twice. Right? 38 had both an A, B, C, and only missed 0 to 3 days. Right? Double check my numbers. Yes, 42, and then those would be the overlap. So those are the ones that we're looking for. Alright, so those would be totals minus the ones that we counted twice. Alright, now let's do the math. Alright, so 142 minus 38 comes out to be 104 out of 150, which the decimal approximation on my calculator is 0.69. Round 4 decimal places 3, which again is not my final answer. We want the percent. So the final answer would be 69.3% chance, if they ask me to round 1 decimal places, that a student had an A, B, or C, so C or better, or they only missed 0 to 3 days, right? So one or the other. And the biggest thing with the or statement is don't count these guys twice, right? And it is a big difference, right? The number between the percent chance when I'm looking at and is just 25. The percent chance when I'm looking at or is 69. So make sure you're careful. It makes a big difference how you come towards a problem that's with an and versus when you have an or. Or is all conclusive. Biggest thing is don't count anybody twice. And is just the group where they have the overlap. Which those are usually the guys who have to be careful. We don't want to count twice. On your own, find the probability. So I don't have to convert this one to a percent. It's a probability and it's an and statement. Alright, see, our lower and had 9 or more absentees, mistakes. And so we'll stop there. So that finishes up 7.3. Alright, 7.4 really isn't anything new. It's sort of the, alright, we're going to take 7.4 and we're going to pause and practice all of the stuff that we learned in Chapter 7 with all of the stuff we need in Chapter 6 before we get to the last 2 sections in Chapter 7, which are conditional probabilities, independent events, and Bayes' theorem. And so it's sort of a pause. Let's make sure you've got these basics down before we get to the harder stuff in 7.5 and 7.6. So 7.4 really isn't anything new. It's just practicing problem sets that we've talked about kind of all mixed together from Chapter 7 and with the counting techniques of Chapter 6. Alright, so that's where we'll go in the next videos.